It has been estimated that there are between 9 to 12 pints of blood within the adult human body. And this blood makes up about 8% of that adult human body weight. We tend to think of blood as a red liquid, but if we zoom in and look at blood more closely, we'll see that it contains different chemicals and cells. In this video, we'll look at the 4 key things found in blood: red blood cells, white blood cells, plasma, and platelets. We'll look at what each one does and why it's important for your body. Here's a chapter list, and there's a little quiz at the end so you can check you've remembered all of the key points. So let's get started. If you're new here, welcome to BioSmash. I'm Jo. I'm a science teacher and a clinical scientist. Let's start by looking at the role of the red blood cells. Red blood cells have the job of carrying oxygen around the body. When you breathe, oxygen enters your lungs. That oxygen needs to be transported from your lungs to all of the cells in the body where it's needed for respiration. Blood transports oxygen from the lungs to the cells, and then the blood needs to travel back to the lungs to pick up more oxygen. If you look carefully at the red blood cells, you'll see they have a very distinct shape. We describe this shape as biconcave. It's a bit like a donut. At each side, the edge of the red blood cell dips into the middle. This shape means that the red blood cell has an extra large surface area. And this large surface area is important because it helps the red blood cell to absorb more oxygen molecules. You may also know that most cells contain a nucleus which contains DNA. However, the red blood cell is an exception. Red blood cells do not have a nucleus, and this gives them more space for transporting oxygen. Red blood cells also contain a red chemical called hemoglobin. And if you want to appear really clever on your exams, then remember that hemoglobin is actually a protein, and that protein binds to oxygen molecules. As we described earlier, oxygen enters our body through the lungs. This oxygen then passes into the blood and travels to the red blood cells. Inside the red blood cells, the oxygen binds with hemoglobin to form a chemical called oxyhemoglobin. And the red blood cells are then ready to transport this oxyhemoglobin to all of the cells of the body. When blood reaches the body cells, oxyhemoglobin breaks back up to hemoglobin and oxygen. And the released oxygen can then diffuse from the red blood cells to the cells of the body. Now that we understand red blood cells, let's move on and look at white blood cells, which are very different. White blood cells have the job of protecting us against infections, and infections are caused by microorganisms. White blood cells are different to red blood cells because white blood cells have a nucleus. White blood cells can be divided into 2 groups, phagocytes and lymphocytes. Let's look at phagocytes first. Phagocytes have the job of capturing or engulfing microorganisms that can cause disease. Once they've captured them, they digest them and break them down. If you watch this video carefully, you'll see the purple white blood cell move towards the green microbe and engulf it so that the green microbe is trapped inside the purple white blood cell. Enzymes are then released to break down the microbe, and the leftover bits are released from the cell. Lymphocytes work differently to phagocytes. This group of white blood cells work by shooting out little proteins called antibodies, and these antibodies stick to the microbes so that the microbes can't get inside our cells and cause damage. Here you can see antibodies binding to a virus particle, and this prevents the virus from being able to enter our cells and cause damage. Now that we've looked at the different types of blood cells, let's look at platelets. Platelets are not cells, they're actually small fragments of cells. They might look something like this, and because they're just parts of cells, they don't have a nucleus. Platelets have the job of helping blood to clot. You may have noticed that when you cut yourself, the blood quickly forms a scab to seal the cut. This clotting process is really helpful because it stops your body losing blood. A scab also acts as a seal and closes the cut, and this means that microbes such as bacteria cannot get into the cut and cause an infection. Finally, let's look at plasma. As we've seen, blood contains lots of parts. If you spin blood really fast, which is called centrifuging, you can split it up into the different parts. And you'll see that the blood cells sink to the bottom, and what's left behind is the liquid that the blood cells normally float in, and this liquid is called plasma. Plasma is a pale yellow liquid. If you watch the blood flowing through this blood vessel, you'll first notice all of the different cells, but the cells are floating in a liquid, and that liquid is the plasma. As well as blood cells and platelets, plasma contains lots of important chemicals. As you're watching this video, your body is busy carrying out lots of processes. One of these processes is digestion. Digestion is carried out by the digestive system, and in digestion, big molecules in your food are broken up into smaller molecules. By the time the digestive system is finished, the large molecules have all been broken up, so carbohydrates are broken down into glucose molecules, proteins are broken up into amino acids. I've summarised the processes that break food down in this video, so I'll put the link below in case it's helpful. Another group of chemicals that are found in blood plasma are hormones. Hormones are released by glands, such as the pituitary gland and the ovaries. Hormones are chemical messages that travel through your blood and tell another part of your body to do something. So, for example, your pancreas releases a hormone called insulin, and insulin travels to the liver and the muscles to tell them to take sugar out of the blood and store it as glycogen. Here you can see a hormone called LH travelling through the blood to the ovary. When it arrives, it triggers the ovary to release one egg. This is called ovulation. If you want to learn more about the hormone insulin and the hormones of the female reproductive system, it might be helpful to check out these videos. As we mentioned before, special white blood cells called lymphocytes release antibodies and antitoxins into the blood. So antibodies and antitoxins are also in the plasma. Hopefully, you can now see that there's lots of useful chemicals travelling through the plasma. There are nutrients such as glucose and amino acids, antibodies and antitoxins, hormones, and other proteins. Glucose in the blood plasma is transported to cells where it's needed for aerobic respiration. This process produces a chemical called carbon dioxide. This is a waste product and the body needs to get rid of it. We breathe out carbon dioxide. This means that our cells need to also put carbon dioxide into the plasma of the blood so it can be transported up to the lungs where it's breathed out. If you want to revise respiration, I've made a video all about it, so I'll link that below as well. Another waste chemical produced by the body is urea. Urea is produced by chemical reactions in the liver, and the body needs to get rid of it. Urea from the liver passes into your bloodstream. The blood carries the urea to your kidneys, where the blood is filtered and the urea passes into your urine. So, plasma also contains waste products such as carbon dioxide and urea, which are on their way out of the body. If you're finding this video helpful, it might be good to click subscribe. It'll help you find my other videos. Hopefully, you've now got a much better understanding of what's inside your blood. I find it helpful to think of blood as a bit like a river that's flowing around your body and transporting everything as it goes. Your red blood cells are a bit like dinghies that the oxygen sits inside and gets carried along. And just like the river carries everything else along in the water, the plasma of your blood carries all of the other substances. Well done for reaching this far. Now it's time to test yourself and see how much you've remembered. I'm going to show you 5 statements. For each statement, you need to decide if it is true or false. So here's question 1. White blood cells have a nucleus. Is that true or false? Either write the answer down or make a note of it. Question 2. Red blood cells produce antibodies. Is that true or false? Make a note of your answer. Question 3. Platelets help blood to clot. Is that true or false? Question 4. White blood cells contain lots of hemoglobin. Is that true or false? Here's question 5, and read this one very carefully. Plasma contains waste products, e.g., urea and glucose. Is that true or is it false? I'm about to show you the answer, so pause the video now if you want more time. So question 1 is true. White blood cells do have a nucleus. Question 2 is false. Red blood cells do not make antibodies. It's the white blood cells that make them. Question 3 is true. Platelets do help your blood to clot. Question 4 is false. White blood cells don't contain lots of hemoglobin. Red blood cells contain lots of hemoglobin. And finally, question 5 is a tricky one. So plasma does contain waste products. However, urea is a waste product, but glucose is not a waste product. Glucose is needed by the body for respiration, so question 5 is false. How did you do? Comment below and let me know your score out of 5. So you've reached the end of the video, well done. If you want to know more about hormones, check out these videos. If you want to know more about digestion, check out these ones, and I hope to see you again soon.